I put 5 million views on the thumbnail because I wanted to interrupt you. The number is huge, the chart is intriguing, and honestly, the whole thing is trying too hard. And well, you clicked. So before I even explain clickbait, we already know something happened. For a very long time, I did not think about this very deeply. I watched YouTube like everyone else. When the title was obviously fake, I just thought, okay, this person is lying. Later, I started noticing something stranger. The most obvious clickbait was not always the part that affected me the most. The extreme version is easy to spot because it is almost admitting what it is doing. The subtler version is harder to notice because it quietly teaches you what importance is supposed to look like. After enough time, a normal title starts to feel weak. Even a careful argument can seem too slow. The most dangerous clickbait may be the kind that no longer looks like clickbait. I noticed it one morning. If I started the morning by watching several fast YouTube videos, the rest of the day often felt damaged. I was still in the same room. I had not even lost that much time, but when I opened a book or tried to focus, ordinary reality felt strangely flat. My attention had already adjusted to something much louder. Every few seconds, something new was trying to make me react. Then ordinary life started feeling somehow slow, and then I understood the real problem. It was not just the lost time. I had trained the rest of the day to feel insufficient. To be fair, everything trains us. Even silence and work are shaping us. So I started asking what kind of attention each environment was building in me. The feed trained me to react quickly. Staying with something slow became harder. This is not freedom. It is my nervous system slowly learning from whatever wins the next click. Still, it would be too easy to blame the viewer. Most people do not open YouTube at night because they want to ruin their attention. They are tired. Maybe work has left them tense and they are too tired to read anything serious. Silence does not feel peaceful. It brings back everything the videos were covering. So the feed becomes relief. It keeps the mind moving, but nothing underneath really changes. I know this because when I tried to stop, there was often a strange emptiness underneath the habit. You remove the videos, but the anxiety is still there. If the surrounding life has not changed, the person still needs some way to discharge it. This is why just use discipline is not a complete answer. After a while, the stimulation is no longer just entertainment. It is helping the person survive the evening. The platform does not solve the anxiety. It keeps activating it, then sells you a little relief through entertainment. Of course, we still have some choice, but the system can narrow what feels possible. After a while, going back to the feed feels like the easiest relief left. This also changed how I understood beauty. Put a restrained stone painting beside a modern commercial street covered in signs. I'm not saying every old painting was profound or every modern sign is ugly. What interests me is how differently they treat your attention. The quieter image leaves space. You have to participate in seeing it instead of receiving everything at once. The commercial street often assumes the opposite. Every shop is afraid that if it does not interrupt you, it will disappear. One sign becomes brighter, the next shop has to become even louder. Eventually, the street is shouting. Each shop may be making a rational business decision, but the final street becomes almost impossible to look at calmly. People then look at restrained art and say it has no emotion, but maybe the emotion is not absent. Maybe the feeling unfolds too slowly to be consumed in 1 second. Maybe it asks the viewer to become quieter first. The viewer has to be trained to notice only strong emotional pressure, so subtle feeling begins to register as boredom. Something is happening. It is just not loud enough for him to notice anymore. Clickbait treats us as though we are already numb. Over time, that way of treating attention can make us even less sensitive. When you stand in front of a quiet landscape painting or hear a piece of music that slowly unfolds without trying to grab you, you do not feel pushed or manipulated. You feel your attention naturally settling, as if it is being guided rather than forced. The way I see beauty now is that the Tao, which is the underlying rule of the universe, becomes something we can actually feel. Beauty does more than decorate the world. It gives a visible form to something higher. And through that form, desire can move upward. I think good attention is closer to a dance. There is attraction, but neither person is dragged across the floor. They are both serving the dance, not just using each other. Hijacked attention feels different. One side studies which image or promise will make you react fastest. You are no longer treated as a partner. You are treated like a nervous system with buttons. This is why the commercialization of beauty can feel empty even when the image itself is attractive. A human face or even a sacred symbol may still carry real beauty, but if its only purpose is conversion, the beauty has been cut away from its higher end. Instead of leading desire upward, it keeps desire moving until the reaction can be measured. Attracting attention is not automatically wrong. What matters is what the attention is being led toward. Now return to the number on the thumbnail. Before hearing one argument, you already know that 1 million people supposedly watched. The creator suddenly feels more legitimate, so you lower your guard. You no longer have to decide whether the person is wise. The number seems to have made that decision already. Imagine Confucius opening a new channel today. His first video might have 11 views and a terrible microphone. Then imagine a creator with 10 million followers giving advice about virtue, even though the ideas are fairly shallow. Who would modern people instinctively treat as more important? A large audience can reflect some sort of value, of course. The problem begins when visibility replaces judgment. The magic begins as a measurement of circulation. Slowly, people start treating it as evidence of truth. 1 million views tells you that other people have already approved that person. It begins to function like a modern halo. We used to paint halos around saints. Now the platform places them beneath the thumbnail. There is an old Chinese saying that good wine does not fear a deep alley. It means good work will eventually be found, even if it is hidden. I used to believe something close to that. Make something good and somehow it will speak for itself. There is truth in this. Many philosophers were ignored while they were alive, but their ideas survived long after the fashions around them disappeared. But the saying becomes less reliable when visibility is shaped by paid promotion and algorithms. Good wine may still smell good. The problem is that the alley is now surrounded by machines spraying artificial fragrance. A careful work can be buried before anyone has enough time to encounter it. This does not mean truth has lost its value. It means good ideas still need a form strong enough to survive the environment around them. Clickbait can dominate an afternoon, but the algorithm cannot tell you what will survive the next century. And this brings us back to the video. I used clickbait to explain clickbait, and I cannot pretend that this makes me innocent. For example, if a video uses a shocking title just to get you to click, but then immediately delivers something shallow or unrelated, you can feel the gap almost instantly. You realize the attention was taken first, and the meaning came second. The real test is simpler. Did the clickbait help carry the argument, or was the argument just my excuse for using clickbait? I have to remember that the ideas behind this video are much older than YouTube. Modern attention markets feel enormous because we live inside them. Historically, though, they are very young. They should not be allowed to define what is worth noticing. So maybe the task is not to reject every strong title. A teacher still has to be heard. Even meaningful work needs some kind of entrance. Strong presentation is fine when it carries real meaning. The problem begins when the meaning exists only to justify the intensity. This video can try to turn the mechanism back on itself. You click because of the symbol, then the symbol turns around and asks why it worked on you. At least for a moment, the click makes you more aware of why you clicked. I think there is one question that keeps me honest. If the views disappeared, would I still believe this argument was worth making? If the answer is no, then the magic is no longer just a tool. It has become the thing I actually serve. So yes, subscribe if this helped you to see the feed differently. But clickbait lying is only the obvious part. The deeper problem is that it may be teaching us what reality must look like before we are willing to notice it.